All right, so big news. For several years now, regarding fasting. Wow. How can so much be done with so little food? There are amazing benefits to eating less. Fasting can be therapy of its own, and its impact is being related to digestive restoration, diabetic control of glucose, hepatic enzyme restoration, added mental acuity, immune enhancement, release of human growth hormone, impact on testosterone, and of course, weight loss. Now, all of this is way too much for this short presentation. However, my teaser is to enhance the benefits of fasting for the sake of healthy longevity. For a moment, let us think of a few scenarios. What happens when a hybrid vehicle runs out of gas? Can you count on the electric engagement to kick in until you drive to the nearest gas station when you are at the peak of the Siskiyou mountain range dividing Oregon with California? How about, would you consider driving your car until it wears down without changing the oil? Waiting several days without flushing the toilet or taking a shower? Would you even wait several weeks before mowing the lawn? When you engage in the recycling campaign of plastics and paper, do you think of the trees being saved or the benefits of hydrocarbon deficits or future food packaging? Our fasting patterns often offer the consideration of our biologic plethora of amino acids and compounds and broken cellular organelles like mitochondria, and restore our biology to renewed physiology. This is one of the most restorative aspects of fasting and prolongs operational longevity. To summarize, fasting is best broken down into seven levels. Level 1 is a simple 12-hour fast. No intake, grazing, or ingestion of other than water, clean coffee, or tea for 12 hours straight. That is most easily done by completing dinner at 6 or 7 p.m., no food for 2 to 3 hours before bedtime, sleep for 8 hours, wait 60 minutes after waking before breakfast, basically 12 hours of no food from 7 p.m. until 7 a.m. A survey of friends and co-workers might reveal no one is following that regimen. Level 2 is a 14-hour fast. This is perhaps adding 1 extra hour earlier for dinner and 1 extra hour later in the morning before breakfast. This stage ramps up the cleanup and conservation enzyme AMPK. It's like a fuel gauge helping the body to conserve energy until other energy generators kick in. Now, not much weight or fasting benefits happen in this stage. However, it helps set the body up to move more slowly into the more challenging beneficial levels. Level 3 is an intermittent fasting level first structured in the 1990s. This is where you fast for 16 hours and have a food window of approximately 8 hours for eating, of course. The most challenging phase is no grazing for 16 hours, managed as consistently as possible with no grazing. This is the level where autophagy, the cleaning up of folded proteins, begins, and it ramps up. Again, water, coffee, or tea is allowable. this level helps us set the stage for higher levels of shorter eating windows. Level 4 is the 24-hour fast. Eating lunch at noon, perhaps followed by no food again until 1 p.m. the following day. This is when the glucose levels get replaced by ketones made by the liver. Fat loss ramps up, and interestingly, muscle tissue is preserved because the body begins to focus on fat reserves. This phase boosts GI restoration, taste buds tune in stronger, foods taste richer, and mood improves. The sense of hunger, often leading to anger, is assuaged. Have you ever had to deal with a hungry person due to low blood glucose? Human growth hormone increases during this phase and level, preserving muscle in favor of using fat, and mental acuity increases due to the release of BDNF, brain-derived neurotropic factor. This level of fasting is highly beneficial because it does require discipline. However, as with lifting weights, the more you engage in this discipline of consumption, the easier it is. In addition, it is healthier in renewing the body and restoring old cells, elements of physiology with fresh ingredients. There are 2 additional levels which I will review next time. However, several important considerations must be kept in mind to fully benefit from the fasting process. First, it's important to gradually allow the body to build up a tolerance to not grazing, with limited time for eating. The more one practices these patterns, the easier it gets, beginning with level 1. Second, our body historically did not have 24-hour food services. This level of food availability has resulted in poor consumption hygiene. As a result, our national health profile has grown to morbid metabolic syndromes, obesity, and larger requirements for airline seating, not to mention seating in vehicles. One of my favorite chaps and I were going to Mexico for a conference. She did not want to subject her car to the wear and tear on her expensive car, so I offered my Subaru. On the way back, we were both going to stay with her son in their home, Santa Barbara, so she could catch up with her grandchildren. She parked her car in my garage. We packed up my car with all our luggage and needs. When it came time to leave, she could not fit in my front seat. I offered to drive her car, her expensive car. She agreed. The trip was a great family experience for her. Thirdly, the role of food in our culture has compromised the health of our children. What parents do or allow become patterns that have compromised the well-being of our future generations. The food patterns for immigrants who come to our country has also impacted their health. To date, Japan has the highest level of centenarians with remarkable lifestyle patterns. Once they move to our country, their health trajectory changes dramatically due to many factors. Eating, as well as timing and content, not genetics, plays a significant role. How these patterns may be improved will be the subject of a future presentation.